Winter is coming. It's inevitable. Winter is coming. Are you ready? Winter is coming. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hey guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details, and it is a beautiful fall day. The weather is starting to turn crisp. The leaves are starting to change. I love this time of year. I grew up in Florida, and so fall was not something that happened. So being up north, I love it. It's too short, but what does that mean? That means winter is coming. And what does that mean for a detailer? Well, that means that I'm gonna have to get a lot of warm layer clothing, which we do, but I'm gonna be kind of shifting my gears as a detailer to getting a lot of my customers ready for winter time. Now, why is that such a big deal? I know a lot of people will ask, what's the best product to apply on your vehicle as we get into winter time? Well, you have to think about what your vehicle is gonna be exposed to. If you're down south, it's gonna be a world of a difference than vehicles up north. Here up north, we have road salts. We have the likelihood that a majority of vehicles are going to be maintained with the automatic car wash, which have really high pH soaps. They're going to strip or weaken whatever protection you have on it, be it wax, sealant, coating. Now, I do have a couple favorite waxes and sealants, and we'll do a video on that in the very near future. But I want to share with you guys a great system to be able to prep your vehicle for winter time. Now, this is from a company that is actually based out of Sweden. I did a video on them recently. And as we all know, Sweden has a lot of really harsh winter elements. And so these products were specifically designed to be able to endure some of those winter elements. I think they're going to be perfect for me to demonstrate for you guys, for those of you that want to apply them for yourself or for your customers. So let's take a quick look at the condition of our vehicle before we get started. Obviously, our tires and wheels, they're pretty bad. We need to do a really good deep cleaning on it. And the paint, it doesn't look so good either. This is actually an elderly customer of mine. He brings his vehicle to me about every 6 months for me to do a wash, clay, and wax on. And I would believe that this probably hasn't been washed since I saw it last about 6 months ago. We actually had done a quick paint enhancement on it last time I saw it. So these are some of the products that we're going to be using and demonstrating for you guys. But if you've got a little bit of a heavier buildup on the exterior or on your tires and wheels, this is the soap that we're going to put in our buckets just to give us a little bit of extra lubrication. It's not an aggressive soap, but it's going to do a really nice job of cleaning all of your heavier dirt surfaces. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate for you guys what we're going to do for our tires and wheels. We'll come in and take a closer look at how these products perform. What's nice is that whether your tires and wheels are regularly maintained or maybe they've just been more neglected, these products are going to perform really well regardless of the condition and give you nice clean results. And at the very end, stay tuned. We'll share with you some products on how to make maintenance easier as we head into wintertime. But here's our before and then our after. You can see really nice turnaround. So first up, we have our wheels, and you can see we just hit this a couple seconds ago, and already we've got some really powerful color changing reactions going on. And what does this do? Is it just kind of a cool effect? No, this is actually the chemical that is reacting with the metal shavings that are on your wheels. Now, if you were to spray this onto paint, it would have the same reaction. It bleeds purple to kind of show that chemical reaction that's going on between the chemical that is within this bottle and the metal on your surface, and it's actually helping to break that chemical bond, so that way when we come in to do our cleaning or whether we're doing a chemical decon, it's going to be a lot easier to remove the ferrous metal or the brake metal shavings that are on the surface of this. A lot of times when I've got wheels that are this bad, I'm going to hit them with an acid-based cleaner, because that's going to really help kind of make the cleaning process a whole lot easier. But oftentimes those acid-based cleaners are not safe for certain types of wheels. Typically your clear coated factory wheels, any sort of acid-based cleaner is going to be safe to use on them. But a lot of times when you've got more delicate wheel surfaces, you need a product like this, but they may not be as powerful a punch of a cleaner as your acid-based cleaners. But I actually have found that this is a remarkable cleaner, but you can see just how much of a dramatic effect we're having with this purple color changing formula. So this not only makes it fun, and it actually doesn't smell that bad. Actually has a pretty pleasant odor to it. Some of these products, they're gonna smell like kind of like a perm dye and a rotten egg smell all combined. They smell awful. This actually, it's tolerable. It's not bad. It's got a little bit of that smell, but it actually has more of like a little fruity smell as well. So it's actually a tolerable, almost slash, I don't want to say enjoyable, but it is not a unpleasant odor. It's a powerful cleaner, and we've got really nice reactions. You can actually see just how much it's clinging still. It hasn't run off. It's a thicker formula, so there's a lot of winning elements behind this product. That's why it's kind of rising to the top for me lately on wheel cleaners, especially iron removers. So really, really enjoying this. Let's go ahead and get this clean. We got our YSI tire cleaner from Shine Supply. Again, this is really impressing me. I just bought a gallon of it because I was so happy with it. This is our superior product, Dark Fury. This works really well on our wheel wells. This is a high pH, almost like a pH of 13, so it cuts through. We've got a lot of rain lately, so there's like dead worms that have like crustified on here. We've got mud, leaves, just a lot of dirt. We've let all that work. We've let all those chemicals kind of loosen all the dirt. You don't want to just spray and immediately go to town. Let them sit for a second. Let them do some of the heavy lifting for you. And you can see just how much browning we're removing from this. But if we were to go around it a second time, you're going to see almost white foam. And that tells you it's a powerful cleaner going after the browning. And you've got white foam, which means you have clean tires. Now we're going to do 2 rounds to these wheels because they're just that bad. I'm using my Easy Detail wheel brush. Does a really nice job of scrubbing away all that dirt. We're actually going to follow up with the Purest microfiber wheel brush. These are just so bad that we're going to actually benefit from the microfiber that's within that brush just to help kind of button things up. We might miss a few things with this Easy Detail brush, and the microfiber does a really nice job of kind of giving us a flat level cleaning surface. You want to kind of go up and down in both directions. That way you can try to get behind these wheelbarrow spikes. You can just see how much dirt. And look at that. That's nasty. When it comes to wheel faces, you can go a couple different routes. This is a soft face brush. It's very gentle, but it's a nice job at kind of cutting through all the dirt that's on this. Or you can go a little bit of a more gentle route. This is the Work Stuff wheel mitt. This is a microfiber surface, very durable, but it's actually going to give you, again, that flat surface, so you're not going to have the potential of possibly missing anything. So we're going to go with this. It does a really nice job of getting in all of our tight spaces. We're going to give this a good rinse before we put it back into our bucket because it's just that nasty on these wheels. Take a look at that. That is nastiness. Give this a good rinse. I got my Big Easy brush. Scrub off all the crustified worm parts. And we've got our Work Stuff chemical resistant brush. It's stiff enough to get into kind of those tight spaces. It doesn't scratch though. It's actually very soft. It's one of my favorites for wheels because I can get in those lug nuts really easily, but it's not going to scratch. There are some detail brushes, they're either too soft and forgiving that they can't actually clean, or they're too stiff. They're going to give you the chemical resistance, but they're not going to be very forgiving on your paint. This is the perfect one for wheels. I'll put the link for it down below for those of you that are looking for top quality brushes. Let's give that a good rinse. I'm gonna just do another light layer. This is our microfiber wheel brush from Purist. Even some of those wheels that have really big wheel discs, you're not going to be able to get back there. So sometimes the wheel brush is going to be better suited for the job. But we're still able to maneuver around, and that's giving us a little bit of extra cleaning power. You can see we're still picking up a good bit of dirt on those wheels. And that is a good looking tire and wheel, night and day from where we were.
gargling. That's a little bizarre.
He parks it under a pine tree. Tell you what, this is one of the nicest mitts I've ever used. I swear that never gets old. Never ever. Let me just break down for you what we've done so far. We did our high pressure rinse. We did our foaming pre-soak, just using kind of their Alkaline Snow Foam. It's not as aggressive as their alkaline degreaser, so there's less risk of potential chemical staining. On some vehicles, if they're a little dry and you use too strong of a foaming pre-soak, you can actually kind of dry the paint out and leave some staining. We don't want to have to polish this. I actually polished this last time I saw this vehicle. There was a good bit of dirt on it, and after we did our snow foam, it helped kind of loosen that. So when we come in and do our contact wash, we don't have to scrub and be as aggressive, especially for black vehicles. A good foaming pre-soak, even if it's a gentle one, is going to really help make that wash process a whole lot easier and safer. We rinsed all that off, came in and did our contact wash using the hydrophobic shampoo. Now we do have some in our bucket, and we are also spraying 2 sprays on our mitt and just going over each panel. We're using the Purest wash mitt, and I have to tell you, that's actually one of the best wash mitts that I've ever used. It's extremely plush. It just glides across the surface. It's very forgiving. It's very similar to our work stuff wash mitt, but it's actually a very thick mitt, and it's doing a really nice job. But we're just coming in, going over our surface. We rinsed everything off, and it looks like I put a ceramic sealant on here. That's the kind of beading that we have. You can actually see a distinct like 50-50 from where I washed to where I didn't wash. You can see our water is kind of flat, sticking to our panels on this side that we haven't washed. Here we haven't done our trunk area, and then over here we've got really nice tight beads. Now this isn't going to necessarily be super long-term protection, but for me to be able to put protection down that is distinguishable, that I can actually see, that right there says to you that if you were to maintain your vehicle with a soap like this, you're going to be adding protection every time you wash it. And it is actually kind of stackable. The more you use it, the more protection you're going to be adding and just kind of strengthening the bond of your existing layers. So if you haven't tested this stuff out, I encourage you guys, if you are kind of that detailer that loves testing out new products, smells great, works great, I wouldn't say it is the most highly lubricating soap. You don't want to have a super grimy vehicle and just go to town with this. You might need to do your foaming pre-soak, or maybe do a good contact wash with their pH neutral shampoo. That's going to add a little bit more lubrication for you. But if you have a vehicle and you've done your foaming pre-soak, gotten a majority of the dirt off, you come in with this stuff. We're actually going to be topping it with their ceramic sealant, which I have many friends within the industry. They highly recommend these products. They are newer to me, but they've actually said the dynamic duo from this line is their hydrophobic shampoo. Top it with their ceramic sealant, and it's going to be lights out when it comes to protection. So that's what we're doing today, and so far this just makes washing a vehicle fun for me. I don't know about you, I'm weird like that, but this makes it fun. Look how it's like pushing the water off. You got like insta beads. You can spray straight on the mitt or straight on the panel. Either one works. Now there are some that'll tell you to use a 2-bucket method. I like to use just 1 bucket, and I'll blast my mitt off before I put it in. But that at least gives me a lot more rinsing capabilities than just kind of putting it in a bucket. As soon as you put that mitt in your rinse bucket, it's a dirty bucket.
So here's some quick tips on how to make your wash method a little bit safer. Start from the top and work your way down. And I like to use a grit guard at the bottom of my bucket. That's just going to help keep the dirt from getting stirred up every time you put your mitt in there. I will rinse my mitt before I put it into my soapy water, and I will use one side of my mitt for one panel and then flip to the other side and use it that way. So that way I can get 2 panels with the mitt before I have to rinse it and put it back into my bucket. That gives me a faster wash method and a safer wash method.
So our next step after doing our contact wash is we're going to do a clay bar treatment. Now, you don't have to do this. If you put your hand in a plastic baggie and you run it over the surface of your paint after you've washed and dried it, if you hear grit, feel grit, then you have bonded contaminants that need to be removed. We have a clay bar here, our clay lubricant. Really been enjoying this stuff. Does a really nice job of gently going after the contaminants. There's medium clay, there's fine grade clay. If it's light contaminants, you can get by with a fine grade clay. If it's heavier, if you haven't done this in years and you've just got tar and just kind of a really sandpaper kind of texture to your paint, then you definitely want more of a medium grit clay bar. Now, there's clay bar, clay towels, clay pads. There's a lot of different variants when it comes to it. I will sometimes use a clay towel for light contaminants. This is a black vehicle. I polished it last time I saw this vehicle. I'm not looking to polish it again because, again, I don't want to be aggressive on the paint. This is a vehicle I maintain. A clay bar is going to be the least aggressive method when it comes to claying your vehicle, but it can be an abrasive. It can lightly mar the paint, so you don't want to necessarily do this on a vehicle that has ceramic coating on it. You want to stick more to like a chemical decon. But again, if you have just a wax sealed vehicle, this is perfectly safe to do. This is a great way to maintain your vehicle, remove any sort of bonded contaminants that didn't come off with your wash method. I'm not being aggressive or scrubbing. You have it flat against your panel, plenty of lubricant, and just go back and forth. If it's smooth, great. And I do hear a little bit of like grit to this, so I know it was necessary. But again, I didn't want to do my clay towel method while I washed it because I just polished it recently and I didn't want to do any sort of marring on this paint. There is some sort of overspray, and you can see this was a fresh side. See just how much that's rail dust, that's tar we're pulling up. As we head into winter time, it's always good to do your maintenance clay bar treatment if you haven't done. Now whatever protection we put on this vehicle, it's actually going to have a chance to bond with your clear coat versus having all of the tar and other stuff kind of in the way. That is a temporary surface that if you were to actually come in with a strong soap that attacks the tar, if your protection is sitting on that, it's just going to wash off. So now we have a silky smooth surface. Whatever we put on this vehicle is going to be a lot more durable versus if we hadn't have done this step. This is the most critical area typically on a vehicle that's going to be exposed to the worst of the elements. You're going to have a lot of rail dust. If you had a white vehicle and you see those little orange specks on your paint, that's rail dust. And a clay bar actually can remove that. You might have to go back over it once or twice, but it can remove the rail dust. But if that rail dust sits on your paint and you don't do anything to remove it, that rail dust will eventually turn to rust. Normally, rust, once it has its way, it doesn't show any mercy. You can remove light rust, but once it starts to pit, game over. So something as simple as this, to be able to prevent rust from occurring on your vehicle, really is no reason not to.
Now, some detailers would argue and say that you shouldn't clay bar a vehicle unless you plan on polishing it, but the average customer is really not going to see majority of the swirls and scratches that are on the paint. And most detailers would also agree that it's not the safest to polish a vehicle too frequently, as you could potentially burn through the paint or create other issues. So I'd much rather see smooth, shiny, clean paint from decontaminated paint than necessarily obsessing over every light swirl and scratch. But you can see after doing our decontamination stage, we've got really nice gloss and shine because shiny paint comes from smooth paint. Smooth paint comes from decontaminated paint. So now we've decontaminated our paint. We're going to go ahead and apply our protection. Now, you did notice the condition of our paint before we applied our protection. Take note of what our paint looks like once we are done with our protection. We're going to apply this very similarly to how we would apply a ceramic coating for a hood or the roof. We're going to divide this into about 3x3 sections and do our cross hatch pattern. You don't need a lot of this product. Light layers work best. I just did one spritz every time I reapplied, and you can see we've got more than enough to go around. You can actually see it sweating already on the panel. Let me bring you in for a closer look. So we just applied and you can actually see like sweat marks. We're gonna let that sit on there for, it says 2 to 5 minutes. Now, ideally you wanna be out of direct sunlight. You can see we've got a really cloudy day right now. If the sun were to come out, we would pull this inside because this is not recommended to be a sun-friendly product. But the weather is working in our favor on this cloudy fall day. So we're going to go ahead, let that sit on there for about another minute, and then go ahead and remove. Got a low GSM and then a more plush microfiber. So upon initial leveling, it kind of has like a oily appearance to it. That second towel is definitely necessary. And you're probably going to want to go through a couple just to make sure you don't have any sort of streaking. But you can just see it looks really nice gloss once everything is removed. First side, smaller circles for the initial. You can see it kind of looks streaky. This is where I would probably be like, ooh, is this going to work? What's it going to look like? Second towel. Again, smaller circles, good bit of pressure. I'm not like scrubbing. It's probably more of a typical experience that we have when it comes to removing more durable products. And I'll be honest with you, when it comes to winter prep, if you've got a product that literally spray on, rinse off, it's not going to last. If you want durable protection, it might require a little bit of elbow grease. That looks so good. It feels very much like I am applying a ceramic coating. A little bit like a
Optimum Hyper Seal, kind of like what that experience is. It can be more of a like an oily based product, and Hyper Seal is a really great product. So you just kind of get that initial layer of transfer solution off, and then you might want to do like some more tighter circles for your final touch. You don't have to scrub, but you definitely are going to have to use a little bit of effort just to get that transfer solution off. But the payoff is that you're probably going to have similar properties and performance like that of a coating, but with more of a sealant experience. So for those that get really intimidated by the idea of a ceramic coating, or maybe you do want to do some paint correction in your car's future and you don't want to have to apply a coating because you're going to be polishing it in the future, you're just kind of wanting like an interim ceramic spray coating, by all means, this is pretty much what that is. So it's very similar to what you would even experience with like the Turtle Wax ceramic spray coating or even the Meguiar's. But now what we have is really smooth surface. I'm excited to see what it does in the future. I will be seeing this vehicle in the spring, so I'm excited to see more from this product.
Now, because we have that 2 to 5 minute window that we need to let this product sit on the paint, you can probably get about half of the vehicle done before you have to come back and remove. Now, I did notice that with this product, it's a lot easier to remove the transfer solution if you do have a damp microfiber. Now, when I say damp, I don't mean wet. You don't want it dripping. You want to basically run it underwater, squeeze a majority of the water out, and then you can use that for kind of your second towel after you remove a majority of the transfer solution. And you can see how it kind of hazes up on you. And once you are ready to remove, we'll take that first low GSM microfiber towel, and then I took that damp microfiber and ran it over the surface, and then had a dry plush third microfiber, and that made removal of this process easy and gave us streak-free results. But more than anything, the gloss and shine that we had after using this product made all of that little bit of extra elbow grease so worth it.
The final step, apply our wheel protection. We're just going to let that kind of sit on there for a minute, then we'll come in and buff that off. SiO2 tire shine. It smells like cherries. It's definitely a thicker formula. Makes our wheels feel really nice and slick. More slickness means less chance of dirt sticking to it. What's nice is this is super easy. You can use this every time you wash your vehicles, just a kind of refresher. It'll make maintenance a whole lot easier moving forward.
So when it comes to winter preparation, these were the products that we used from Purist. I will put the links to these products as well as all of the products that we used down below, but the end results were extremely impressive. Sometimes winter prep can take a little bit of effort if you're wanting to apply durable protection, but when we were done with this vehicle, it actually looked like not only had I polished it, but it looked like I had applied a ceramic coating. And this was about a 3-hour appointment total from start to finish for me to wash, decontaminate, and protect not only just our paint, but also our tires and wheels.
Ooh, that is nice. That's definitely gotten slicker since when I first applied it. So if it doesn't feel slick
right after application. Just give it a little bit of time.
That's a wrap for our winter protection for our Audi. I think the customer's going to be really happy with these results. Honestly, it looks like I polished the vehicle and applied a ceramic coating to it. It has that much gloss and slickness on the paint. I think there are some fillers within these products because it looked like there were more blemishes on the paint before I washed it, and after we've applied our ceramic sealant, it looks like I did a paint enhancement. So for those that want to have some maybe superficial coverage of some of the blemishes that are on their paint, these are great options. I'm really happy with the end result. If you want to try these products out for yourself, make sure you use coupon code Chelsea10 over at Car Supplies Warehouse. You're gonna be able to save 10% off on those purchases. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned. We're gonna be doing more content in the next couple weeks on some of my favorite products for winter protection for your vehicle, as well as tips on how to maybe detail or just manage in the winter time to take care of your vehicle. Make sure it's protected, keep that road salt off, etc. But thank you guys as always for your support, for subscribing. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, and we will see you guys in the very next detail. Have a wonderful weekend.